There is something that I love about Tarot Oracle card decks, and that's me, the 5D Mystic, woo lady. For those who don't believe in mystics, we're totally not offended, so please stick around. We do self help and personal development, but I am a mystic, so I'm also integrating a lot of other things, and I respect those who do not enjoy tarot. You can stick around, it's energy. And I'm pretty sure the only people who are going to tune in to IHP are going to be open minded and they know yoga don't bring no demons out of you, okay? And that tarot is about the energetic spectrum. It's really amazing. 5D Collective, we're not mantles of spirituality, we're not mantles of yoga, we're not mantles of mental health. We are not mantles of anything because mantles are facades and those are the pseudo live and they're the human suffering love narrative and they're the maladaptive child behavior. There are a lot of people, we surround them with therapists. That's our intention. And then we thank them. I bow my head. And as a divine feminine who has completely and consistently following our full moon continued to get guidance, I'm quite aware of why the Dalai Lama says we kind of have a responsibility. You know why? Because I took lovely inner engineering with the lovely Sadhguru and Shambhavi Kriya and the Grace of Yoga. But it was in the inner engineering, if I remember correctly, where in module class 4, I think, or something like that, he's talking about responsibility, or 3 or 4, one of the two. And that's where there's a lot of things I could share. I'll keep it short. But I remember a man in the audience who's a grown man. He sounded like he was older than me, but voice doesn't mean anything. I'm 44. I don't know what I sound like. So this man to me sounded like he was older than me, so that he should know more. Because, usually when your inner child is still alive, mine is. She's a 3-year-old. I consistently think, wait, but that's a grown up. And then I was like, wait, you're a grown up, Maria. Okay, so long story short, this person, as Sadhguru is explaining, the difference between responding and reacting without any psych education, though. So I can explain it with Daniel Siegel. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel. And he explains to me, I'm still finishing up interpersonal neurobiology, but I know integration of the brain because I have it. So I'm a self-empowered woman. It's also why the solo poly group is different when we're securely attached, because we know how to be our own safe havens for real, not the part of where we're going to need you. We don't have a primal attachment panic. I have the book Poly Secure, and I read about it, and I was like, nope, my panic attacks have nothing to do with that. But I do remember losing a gasp of air, and that's a whole different story that intimate friends know about, some of them, not all. So long story short, what I was trying to get to is I didn't have any primal attachment panic. No, I have the capacity to be a person who loves more than one human being, man, in my case. And nope, there's no need for me to recover from trauma or anything like that. But I do know when people don't know how to tell you things, and that's where, again, inner child. So I'm an inner child. The difference is I maintained integration. And so in here, I have a left that chit chats. Nope. Quiet. Right. That is reactive. Nope. Responding. Yes. Okay. So let's go back to Sadhguru as he's explaining to this dude in the audience. And I didn't have yet all of my attachment trauma information. And so I was just listening to Sadhguru as he explained how we have this, he didn't say responsibility, the opportunity to respond versus to react and not do anything or something like that. Long story short, his example is a woman falls on the floor, she's down and, she needs to get up. You go over to pick her up, which to me seems like the decent thing to do, but then again, I've seen that they have studies where people will pick people up from the floor based on their jersey. If they're from the same football team, if they're opposing teams, they will less likely, the studies show that they're less likely to help a poor human being up. And if it's a neutral shirt, then it's a little bit more than the jersey of the opposite team's shirt. That shows you group mentality. Now, I wasn't surprised, but then again, I was like, wow, that's a lot of people that have implicit bias ruling everything, emotions, and they say emotions don't rule anything. They obviously don't know their inner child, their charges, their group mentality out, and they will say, but I'm a victim of my brain, because they go and learn the neuroscience, and then they say, see, they told me that I'm stuck with it. There's even a Zen master who says it's laundry in your body. Well, I'm just some average day human being. Now, I did get lucky because my first 3 years of life, amazing, and so were the rest of it. So I have all gooey, ooey, ooey in here. I grew up with Jesus and God, so I got taught how to respect, be humble, forgive, fair and square. I'm a mystic. I'd say I got lucky, don't you think? I think I got lucky. Yeah, I'm not rich, but richness doesn't come from the money. Yeah, actually, I know a lot of people think it does, but no, believe me, I love having heaven in my body right now. I actually feel torture every time I think of those who have hell in it, and that there's a solution. And here's where I'm going to come back full circle to the wisdom that I've been channeling since that full moon, and recognizing where I'm getting to share with you all how to respond and be responsible for our ancestors' karma, which is ours, which is one big energetic spectrum, and how the balance of everything is always in this, and how those of us who know that, we get to consistently expand. And this is the beautiful part of why I know philosophy is boring to some people. So we're going to get back to our topic. But this man in the audience argued with said guru, but I didn't have the lady fall. And why should I go pick her up? And he actually interrupted the class 3 times. I'm doing it online remotely, but I'm thinking, wow, you don't want to pick up a poor lady off the floor? Now, I'm 4'9". I wouldn't be able to pick her off the floor. I'm sure you're stronger than I am. Why wouldn't you pick up a poor lady from the floor? That's just wrong. Even if you don't understand what he's talking about, what the hell, man? Like, wow. And you're with a yogi. He's a spirituality guru who's telling you to be nice. Like, what is the deal with people not knowing what sages and wise human beings are? And I'm a political science major, so maybe that's why. I mean, does anybody not know about cultural differences? And then if you're going to present yourself in front of somebody, to know a little bit of the etiquette. And I'm not the smartest person on the earth at all, but when it comes to culture, I mean, maybe it's because I've traveled the world. Again, that might be a person who's never traveled, and I haven't traveled the whole globe. I've just traveled across the Western world, so actually I'm very small compared to what other people travel. Okay, so my inner child was just confused at this man, and there you go. The way she's thinking, or I don't know if she's thinking, but I was more like, wow, okay. So the wisdom of infinite and beyond is that we are responsible in a very, very philosophical and most poetic way for the 5D collective. I read about the 5D and the ascension energies, and I know our timeline, and I'm going to get to our topic. I haven't decided the title yet, but it's about self-help and personal development, and people who move out of their trauma stuff. So the ones who do the emotional lifting, they want to do the self-regulating accountability, not the ones who do the emotional, lazy, and suffering stuff. Although we thank them for keeping the balance, is what I'm trying to get to. Yeah, so there's no proof of it, by the way. And the physicists, quantum physicists, the ones who study stars, all that stuff, they have the beautiful job to look into the hard problem of consciousness. So I love learning about them and a lot more of sciences. But in the meantime, I'm the woo-woo lady. So let's get back to using our inner child deck cards, shall we? So what I was also going to say is responsibility from the Dalai Lama. The quote is about bringing laughter and joy. And so when we find people who want to be their inner child adult, is really nice, because they start to be human. More of their humanity comes forth, and not the suffering type. The suffering, we hug, we listen, and we thank them. Thank you so much, and that's it. That's silent, because otherwise they think you're making fun of them. They're going to think that we're mocking them, which is not the case. I'm actually honored to be able to meet any person, and in my head I will still think as a divine feminine. I know those masculines can do something, because the feminine is the one who can see the infinite possibility manifested in its reality, and then they can present it. But once you've presented it enough times, some say, no, Maria, life sucks, this is the truth, you're just delusional. Okay, 3D, 4D, the spiritual bypassers, all of that. Okay, so they tell 5D that we're delusional. because we see sciences and spirituality and we see that we're making steps forward, and it might be slow, but we're making them. Okay, that's my point. Hopefully you're gathering that. Okay, so we know that every human can do the hard things. Yeah. Emotions is what we're going to get to. So this man didn't know how to do the hard things. I don't know what he did after the inner engineering course, but I knew he wasn't going to lift a poor lady off the floor. And I was like, wow, again. Oh, so you can do the hard things because you know you are enough when you're beginning to work on your inner child. So your lovely divine feminine, you know the way back home. You review what you are responsible for, and you will be able to tend to others once you first find yourself. Okay, so Sadhguru, where are you? To find something worthwhile in your life, you have to lose yourself first, I think, or to lose yourself. But what he's really meaning is that you can, and I'm going to translate human terms, you can sit in your mind, in your brain, and the running model of your body is a securely attached body like mine. And so you can be in your prefrontal cortex, look at another person like me with that man. I didn't agree with what he was doing, but he's a man, he's a person, he's, who knows how he was determined. And it makes me think of Robert Sapolsky. So, he must have had some subjective experiences happen, which is why he's thinking if I lift that lady off the floor, she's going to beat me to death or something like that. We don't know. We don't know because we're not living in his head. All I know is he was arguing with the guru about not being responsible. And then I thought of philosophy because that's where I know as a divine feminine, all people who are not yet using their inner child to lead the way, because their right mode isn't just, quiet left, be quiet, be polite, listen. And then with the unknown, uncertainty, and unwanted, you're married to Shiva when you're a enlightenment soul age group. No laundry, no, otherwise you're weighed down. So you're like, okay, it's an interesting potential. I mean, why not? Yeah, that's a flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable brain. So we try and we don't fail. We're not a broken record. Instead, the minds of people that are broken records, yeah, we know them. And they don't choose themselves. Instead, the ones who do choose themselves today, again, they know they can do hard things. They know that they can spend time in nature if they need, but not too much. You want to connect to the eternity within, but not too much. Depends. Do we have a window welcome or window tolerance? So you practice freedom, releasing the judgment of the emotion. So you do want to tend to a sliver of that trauma-charged emotion. Depends. If you do it on your own, it's because you can stay up online on your prefrontal cortex, and you become self-aware. So you say, hey, body, what's up? What are we doing? And the breathing helps you to stay focused. So focus, attention, awareness, and kind intention. And so as you breathe and you sit, not necessarily in nature, you could be doing it right now, I could be doing it right now. You accept what is going on. You allow it to come up. This is within a window of welcome or a window of tolerance. That is, I know what I'm doing, not in a way that you feel out of body. No clinical dissociation. If that's happening, then we know we want to go slower, even slower, and good therapist. Okay? So you let come forth whatever the message the body wants to share. And it's actually fascinating when you sit that way, because I did learn a lot from my Awakened Embodied Certificate course, because I don't sit down and breathe a lot like that. I feel that it's a waste of my time, but my body definitely has a lot to share when I just sit and shut the left mode up for a little bit. So it always matches, but it gets a lot more within the ancients with my ancestors and all this other stuff. Okay, so here's where you deserve to be seen. So you get to see your inner child. That's the part of what you're doing if you still have the inner child that isn't reparented. If, on the other hand, you have your inner child reparented, then usually who knows what's going to be seen, but you speak to yourself with kindness and you allow neutrality to also be a part of the equation. And you know that you don't have to do it alone. So you can share with a safe haven, secure base, a mature, functional adult human being, 5D relationships. Come on over. We're a community. And you know that if you want to chit chat, but if not, you can journal. You can do exercises that make you happy, whatever it is, that not the self-soothing mechanisms that are bad for your health. So don't do fucking, drinking, no drugs, no procrastination. Do something that is proactive and easygoing and nice. Now, if you really, really must enter into a lower vibration for some reason, and I'm talking in a way of trying to be moderate, but I'm saying if you're actually still working to get yourself always where You're not doing anything hard with emotions, okay? So once emotions are easy for you, you're a restorative embodiment. You're doing, again, no laundry, but as long as there's laundry, then skip those things that are not healthy for you, because that means that you have an Achilles heel, is how I'm going to put it. How does that sound? Okay? So you do what you need to give yourself a little bit of a push and motivate to get out of that broken record. And the what's his name, Dr. Daniel Fox, he shares that it's family in the head. I don't think we have to talk about it like that, but it's an inner critic, and I know why he talks about it as a family in the head, because he works with a lot of people who have, unfortunately, and anyways, at the 2 years of age, it's the family that's talking to you at 3, at 4, at 5, so it is the family in the head. Okay, so you want to listen to your inner child, and you want to listen to yourself with kindness, and if you're sharing, again, with kindness, to know that it's never the end. So if there's some stuff going on that you're like, I don't want to accept it, I really don't. I don't want to lift the lady from the floor, to learn how to get up and be like, I'll lift her. So today's a new day, and you say, yes, I'm going to go be responsible for my humanity and that of others. And you pull your inner child to you, and you reparent, and you therefore leave alone whatever maladaptive child behavior was there. And it's okay to have misunderstandings with people, and so you don't have to do I'm liked, not liked, fear of abandonment, rejection, whatever is that the core of why we would get upset, why the inner child is feeling emotionally stuff. Also, just accepting the unknown is something that people are like, I don't want to, I don't have that money that I wanted yesterday. It can be something random, and you go on an adventure. So you say, okay, I'm going to do, thank you for stopping by, everything that came up that I had to look at and that I know isn't hard, because, and here's the other part, disappointment is not the end. So I'm not disappointed, am I? No, because I get to be in my prefrontal cortex. And yes, we're going to use this because I love all these cards. Okay, so when you're in your prefrontal cortex, that's when you are in the now, and you're that Jacob with the possibility to be objective. The rabbi gave me the Jacob personality, but it's really you just using your mind. Your third eye can be part of it too. Okay, so you're present, you have healthy boundaries. That's the healthy self-worth. So no shame, no guilt, no blame, no revenge, no anger coming up. You're sitting in the I'm worthy, so are other people. And in a conversation, in a reflective, journaling moment, you are at ease. Otherwise, you're not really doing inner growth. If you're still upset, it's going to taint it. So you want to be at ease. If you want to write when upset, just make sure that you notice, okay, my emotions are X, Y, Z, D, F, G. So as I'm writing this is where my emotional state is. Let me keep this in mind for when I come to review you once I'm done being in my emotional poutiness for a minute or something, like however it is that it comes forth, okay? So you get lost, though, in a good land of imagination when you're in neutrality, okay? And you look at those emotions and you look at those thoughts, and you do your best to separate the two. You do your best to also know that emotions will affect. If they're positive or negative, they taint something. So you want to remember, okay, in my positive emotions and my negative, I like neutrality with emotions, but we know that if you haven't mastered them just yet, equating words that can have you feel objective about what's going on, okay? Once you're out of laundry, you really, it's like all emotions, they're equally valuable, beautiful, because you're in your ventral vagal nervous system, you're in the present. So that's why it's important. That is when you will be able to say, okay, yeah, my emotions, I don't like something, but I'm going to let love stay in the forefront, and I'm going to put the dislikes to the side and the likes. Love is a neutral emotion because it's when you're at ease in your body, again, in your prefrontal cortex. So you're in flow. You're in the flow state in the moment, and that's where you're processing in the flow state, letting go of the past. And if you want, you're seeking this new perspective, so that inner growth, you write something new out, and you write it with the knowingness that you are wanted. There is a home within, and that is you. You're reparenting. You're being true to who you are. Your inner child is there. You are the inner adult. You're in the prefrontal cortex. You're remembering that anything you wish to contemplate is subjective, and that the emotion processing it is what you're grown up thing is. Okay, I'm just going to put it that way because you're allowing yourself to not use the child charge, which taints it with the past from your child self, the way that new information from good mental health experts that I learned from, they share. And I have talked about the charge parts with a lot of people and they notice them. I've noticed mine. And so, again, your emotions, you can notice them and your charge parts. So you let go of the things that don't serve you. This is actually witnessing, processing. Oh, look, there's my inner child part. I've tended to myself. I've achieved neutrality. I've done some exercise. I can release it. And some people like to do little types of exercises. They'll burn the piece of paper that they wrote whatever it is on, or, you throw flowers. It depends. If you want to respect the, lovely environment, you do something that is not disrespectful or that, a flower. I love flowers, don't get me wrong. So if somebody gives them to you, I mean, still you decide. I don't have any rituals. I just like to share ideas, but definitely celebrate. You want to celebrate what you're getting to do, and maybe you can even write a letter to your inner child so you can continue the writing. Some people get bored of writing, so if you don't want to write, have a conversation with someone. And then of course, that there is hope ahead, that you just had courage, you took heart, and that you're basically doing something that involves allowing yourself to know how to be in the present. And that's that whole stillness that you hear all the people, sit still, sit still. Some people have a really challenging time with that one, but some love to sit still. Now, finding your haven, running wild, and going inward. Okay, we're going to use these together because this one's a bit more unique. I want to talk about that one. Okay, so when you find your haven, this would be your safe or safer space. Okay, so let's remember that the world is not guaranteed, right? Life, a lot of things with human secondary consciousness, we know that there's no guarantee. There are probabilities, there are possibilities, and here's where the manifestations, things you want to have come to fruition. For the 5D collective, we work on all of this a lot differently than what 4D does. I just brought to you something that can support you in many different ways. But the point of the relationship that you have in here, that you bring to your thoughts, and that you then can contemplate and not compliment, but complete. You bring a full circle. And so again, in the hard things, they will at some point become soft things, dealing with the uncertainty, unwanted, unexpected. Disappointment, you don't really use that word, although others will use that word, as others who are not yet their inner adult, their inner child adult, and that they still have laundry when they're dealing with life, and they still want to equate life to the human suffering love narrative, okay? And so they will have their broken record. And that doesn't mean that they have a maladaptive child behavior with you in a way that is, what's the word I'm looking for? Disruptive. Because if you watch movies like Hangover, Mean Girls, or, any of that popular trending stuff, you're going to see a lot of Pinocchios with ears and tails, okay? So the human suffering love group, like the man who didn't want to lift the lady up. I don't want to respond. I'm not responsible for, because he was thinking probably the word responsible with his own dictionary. And he's thinking, I'm not responsible for this thing. And that's where he completely lost the message of Sadhguru, because he was fixated with his left mode. There must be non-bilateral integration there, because he was taken to discuss with the person who's instructing the material. So long story short, that's not the last time I've seen grown human beings do this, which is very much where I'm like, I'm not the smartest person, but you just interrupted class for nothing more than you didn't understand what's happening because you decided you want to argue with the teacher because of a word, which happens all the time when you're a person who likes to use words however they come, and people don't want you to, or they just don't understand to, or, well, this is the part. They're using a dictionary and they're assuming that you're using the word the way they are. So, long story short, that's one of the reasons why in all my trauma courses and somatic courses, they talk about the capacity to use words the way you would want. Now, when taken out of context, people argue with each other and become quote unquote assholes to each other. Those are all the mantles of mental health, mantles of yoga, and mantles of spirituality. They don't know spirituality, which is a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self, integration of the brain, emotional maturity, and having what is a conversation. When I have people who misunderstand words, I will say, I'm not using it that way. And then we keep talking and we keep on going. And that's it. Okay. So if there's confusion, people will ask me. If I'm confused, I will ask them. And if not, we just get the gist of what we're saying and everybody's happy. And that's the part of where that broken record doesn't take place for those of us who, again, we try and we don't fail. We know that we can do hard things. So for some, emotions are still hard and thoughts are, but it is not impossible. It's not as impossible as it may feel when you know that disappointment is not the end, that there is hope even in the darkest of nights. And for those who are in the enlightenment soul age group and restorative embodiment, we already know that we're always balancing that new wheel of dharma. So we don't do karma. But when we get those people who are doing karma, we're not going to project or do something. We won't lecture them. We will be responsible to share with them love. Now, why is that? And we'll close on out with lovely Sadhguru's message. Besides the one to find something worthwhile in your life, you have to lose yourself. That one we reviewed. Besides that one, let us review. I've shared this one with you yesterday, I think it was. If you are keen on doing something about human suffering, attend to yourself first and also to people around you. That is the best way to start. So, like I was trying to also share, I have realized that it is our not responsibility, but to respond and to support all people and to be able to put in that physical mastery. So to be a kind, compassionate, and neutral, curious, open, accepting, loving person consistently. So even when we have the human suffering love, so the ones who I personally am still working at times, the imbalanced feminines, we've talked about that one, right? So that's where practice makes perfect, but not in a way that's perfect, because nobody's perfect. We're all flawed and imperfect, and we just unconditionally love each other for who we are. So love is easy. Love is accepting each other. Love is respecting each other's physical space. For functional adults, we don't take things personally. We're life sensitive, not ego sensitive. So if you have different political, religious, whatever it is, whatever words you want to use, you can come on over here. We're not going to be a group of people that act like Cusco's in town. We go vote, we go and decide what our differences are. No, we just talk. It's called differentiation plus linking, and it's because we have different cultures, religions. It's a big world. It's a small world. It's a big world, but it's small. It's called we are culturally different, and that the important things are, one, again, when you're in here, a whole inner child adult, and you bring it forth, there's our functional adult love languages, and we support each other to heal. We support those who are healing trauma to find their safe haven, secure basis, to find spaces where they can safely discuss and speak and share and know they will not be judged or condemned. And in the meantime, they're getting that good path because of all the great mental health experts out there who are sharing information and supporting to destigmatize and to stop dehumanizing people that are in all the clusters. So Dr. Daniel Fox is great. He has a channel for antisocial personalities and personality disorders. He talks about highly sensitive. He talks about a lot of things. Dr. Daniel Siegel is great. Mindset Institute. Basil Van der Kolk. NICABM has a bunch of different good content. Peter Levine, Diane Heller, Terry Real for couples. He's awesome. And Grandiosity and just a lot of toxic patriarchy stuff. Who else? I know I'm forgetting. Well, Samotopia. He has beautiful courses. Dr. Albert Wong. Embodied philosophy there, awakened embodied certificate program, really great. Oh, and for 5D mystic stuff, come on over here. I'm self-taught on a lot of things, and I'm sure we can figure out who's out there, spirituality and sciences, so they're not making the spirituality stories more important than the sciences, which means something like this. They're not saying, oh, the volcanoes are erupting, demons are coming out of the earth, okay? No, those are 4D. They're on their own else journey. We say, there's this guy I know, he actually reviews in a scientific way what's happening out in space, and he's really great. And he talks about ascension symptoms, and he talks about doctors and stuff too, though. So he's really great with the life is a meaning and connection beyond the solo self, and he is an academic in some way, shape, or form, because he's consistently bringing in information about what's going on in a very nice way, not a scary way. Then you see the ones who are scaring people. Yeah, so 4D, 3D, a whole different way that they have messages. We're going to leave that alone. And again, thank you for stopping by. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know if you have an Ask Maria question. That's for audio only for now. Once we get to 1K, it's paid subscription-based model content. You can sign up. I put the link in the description. So if you listen to the podcast, which is on Spotify for podcasters, Apple, Amazon, it's like on 11 different 12, I Love Heart Radio, something like that. So 11 or 12 different podcast platforms. And for YouTube, if you subscribe, that's great. And that way we can get the channel growing as well. And then we'll have the same opportunity and option here. And if you want something specific, again, for my divine feminines, the ones of you who have clairs, let me know. And we'll put them in the Ask Maria. It's like a Dear Abby, but you say, Dear Maria, and you email me. In the meantime, you can do hard things. And I do that because emotions are not hard here. But disappointment definitely is not the end. And disappointment isn't even a word. So this is a thing about a person who has enlightenment soul age group material. It's like, I tried, I didn't fail. I'm either not good at it, and some people say that's you failing, and that's your opinion. I learned something, that's a weakness of mine. You mind helping me with that? And the part about we keep on doing things is because we're having fun doing life. There's another part in the inner engineering program. I love Sadhguru. And he is talking about this thing. If you have, when you're doing life in a way that you're having fun, even if you failed the first time, it comes back around. You're gonna be like, yeah, I get another opportunity to do it. Hurrah, hurrah! And they're not the ones with the laundry in the body. The laundry in the body is the Zen master over there. He doesn't want to do it again. Oh my God, I have to do it again. And so when you have the broken record, human suffering, like Maria, see again, it happened again. Am I calling it to myself? No, you're not. I mean, you clearly gave me an explanation of what hard emotional stuff is going on and how disappointing men, women, and days are in all these relationships, your twin flame, your soulmates, your work, you name it. And so there you go. That's for, we say, I'm so sorry. You hug. There's your 1-year-old is okay for until, next time. And then you're like, hopefully they'll find the person that they can do their unfinished business with and then go to Terry Real maybe. That's where like, yay, maybe they're going to go there, or they might just do it their own way, which is also nice to see. So when you see people in the other soul age groups, because we have other soul age groups, I'm in the enlightenment one. It's very possible. It's nice to be in a flow state. You can ask your curiosity questions. If you're like, hey, Maria, tell me about this stuff. So again, emotions, it's like lifting muscles or lifting whatever weights, which I don't lift. I do not and don't plan on it. But ask me to lift emotions. I love emotions, even though I keep it clean. I don't watch any horror shit. Nope, don't bring it my way. I don't care. I'm not watching it. And if you're too sensitive, well, you know what? I get to choose what I want to do with my 24 hours, and I don't want to watch that. It's not enjoyable. And so, anyways, I'm going to end this now. Again, let yourselves be known. Thank you for stopping by. Have a great day.